Alright, so what is up guys? In the previous session we learned what an array is, and we even used the functions called table.find, table.remove and table.insert. So in this session we'll be understanding what are dictionaries. It's another type of table and it's a data structure, but the only difference between dictionary and an array is that dictionary uses key value pairs. And what I mean by key value pairs is, let me write the syntax or an example of a dictionary. Alright, so here I've created a small dictionary. These numbers you see here inside the square brackets, they are the keys, and equals to, this is the data. You can even call it as a value. That's why dictionary follows the key value pairs. So it's the key value pairs. Okay, so that's basically the syntax for dictionary. You use a local keyword followed by the variable name and flower brackets similar to that of the arrays, and then you put a key equals to then the data, and then you put a comma. So if I were to put more, I can just put here like this, and let's say I want to get the data high. So in order to get the data high from the dictionary, it's similar to that of the array where you just put the index, but in this dictionary we don't have indexes. Instead of indexes we can call it as keys, but the small difference between key and index is that the index is just a number, but in the keys of a dictionary we can even change it to a string. So instead of writing 1, I can write it as greetings, and to get the data high, I have to just put greetings in this and hi. So basically what Roblox Studio understands is that this high, the data high, is inside of a smaller message, or like a variable you can say, inside of the variable called greetings. So I won't be saying it as a variable because that's incorrect. So I'll be calling this as a key and this is a value. So the value high is inside of the key greetings. So in order to get the high data, I'll be using the greetings key to get the data high. You can even think it as a door. So to unlock the door you need a key, and in the other side of the door there's a lot of coins. You can call that as a value. So to get the coins you have to use a key to open the door. Alright, so here I made a small change. I put name equals to night method. So this is my Roblox username, this is the data I put, and this is the key for my Roblox username. You can notice that the difference between the first two and the last key value pair is that I've not put the square brackets. The reason why I've not put the square brackets is because if you don't put a square bracket, Roblox Studio treats this as a string. So it thinks, okay, this is a string, I should keep it as a string. But if you put it as a square bracket, you can use expressions. So what I mean by expressions is that I can put true, the boolean true, instead of the square, and let's say hello, yeah, something like this. That's the data for this key. Or I can even use the location of a part. Let me insert a part instead of the workspace. Oh, I deleted that by mistake. Okay, so I've inserted the part instead of the workspace. So I can put the location of this part as the key, and workspace dot part, yeah, and I can put the data as my first part. That's basically it. So if I were to call this, it will say my first part. Alright, so if you run this script by calling the workspace.part, you get the data as my first part instead of the print statement. So you just have to put the square brackets and put workspace.part. So the reason why I'm putting the square brackets is that if I don't put a square bracket, let's say I remove the square brackets, Roblox will treat this as a string, and I don't want Roblox to treat it as a string. What I mean by string is this is a string, okay? So it will think that this is a string, and it's not actually that I'm defining the location of a part instead of the workspace in this. So you're not to tell Roblox Studio that I'm assigning the location of the part, I have to use brackets. If I were to get every single key and value from this dictionary, I'll be using a for loop. Alright, so here I made a small for loop to get all the keys and values of a dictionary. I've used the variables I, v. I is the key of the dictionary, greetings to name workspace.part, whereas v is a value, hi, bye, night method of my first part. So one thing you guys should notice is that in this output, it says name net night method to by greetings hi or whatsoever. You must have noticed that it does not follow the order which I've written the dictionary in, because the first one is greetings equals to I, but it prints name night method. So keep in mind that dictionaries are not ordered. Like, it can print the third element as the first one, and the second element as second one, and first element as the third one. So keep in mind about that. All right, so the important thing I've missed out and not told you guys is that if I were to change the data of name key, I'll be just using not print, so I'll be just calling the dictionary name equals to let's say yellow. So if I were to print this, oh, I made a mistake, I should not put in the square brackets. Yeah, so yeah, that's basically it. And if I were to print this, it will say yellow instead of my name. Yeah, so it says name yellow. That's how you change the data using the key from a dictionary. If I were to change 2, I'll be just instead of using the dot operator, I'll be using just 2 equals to hello, something like that. That's how it changes. Alright, so that was basically it about dictionaries. So summarizing what we learned today, what are dictionaries? Dictionaries are basically a type of data structure. They're even called as tables, where they follow that key value pairs, and the key is the address or whatsoever related to the data or the value. So if you were to retrieve the data or the value from a dictionary, you'll be using the keys. Okay, so how do we use dictionaries? We use it using the local keyword followed by the flower brackets, and every time you write the key value pairs, you'll be using a comma. You can even write the keys without the square brackets, as I've told you the difference in the middle of the video. So kindly watch that, kindly remember that also. So when do we use dictionaries? We use dictionaries during, let's say, leader stats, or you want to use it during player data, when you're saving the player data into the Roblox Studio. In the future videos, I'll be explaining how to save player data. You're also using dictionaries to store the damage, or let's say weapon stats. So I can create a dictionary called local gun damage equals to, let's say, AK-47 equals 14. So this will be storing all the damage of bullets of the gun. That's basically it. So that's why we use dictionaries, and that was basically it. So you guys have any doubts whatsoever, queries, kindly let me know. Till then, stay safe. Bye bye.